welcome to the Women's Health Forum 2022. I'm Jackie Castor Cooper, your holistic alternative physical therapist, and our topic this year is spring detoxing, letting go of negativity, environmental toxins, and unhealthy food. And I am just so honored that all of the panelists from last year said yes to coming back because all of you fell in love with these beautiful women. Not only are they kind and generous with their time, but they are wisdom filled and highly, highly educated, both with experience and with so much wonderful things that are going on. So I'm so grateful for everyone that you are joining us. If you missed the live, which is happening right now, you can watch the replay and still connect with us as well. So I am going to start off right away with Dr. Lyanna Rodriguez. Dr. Lyanna is a doctor of osteopath, and she's also internal medicine and does functional medicine for high achieving women. She's also a business mentor for healthcare practitioners. So, hello, Dr. Lyanna.
Hello. Hi, Jackie. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, I'm excited to get started.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that you're now mentoring healthcare practitioners because we all need your help and your direction. So I really appreciate that.
Thank
Next
you.
up, Betty Sue O'Brien is a traditional naturopath and master herbalist and past president of the International Iridology Practitioners Association. Betty Sue teaches for the Southern Institute of Natural Health, and as you can see, she's written several books. 6 Weeks to a Healthy Lifestyle is one of them. Lots of iridology books, Going Green, and one of her other favorites is The Chakras, a simple guide to color, light, and sound. So all of her books are fantastic. So, yay! Welcome,
Thank you,
Dr.
Jackie.
Sue. So good to see
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have Tina Hahn. Coach Tina is a certified executive health coach from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York City and a member of the American Holistic Association and the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. And as you can see there, she's been kind enough to give us a 60-minute free Zoom call if you need one to be with her. It's bit.ly Unstoppable Health Breakthrough. So welcome, Tina.
Thank you, Jackie. I am so honored to be here amongst these lady leaders of holistic healers. So I'm so honored to be with you all tonight.
Thank you. And Rita, if you can put up Dr. Lyanna's banner brand back up, because I forgot to mention, there it is, bookwithlyanna.com. So if anyone is interested, please go ahead and connect with her as well. Okay, now we have Dr. Devin Miles is a naturopathic doctor, and she obtained her doctorate from Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine. It's a 4-year on-site naturopathic medical school, and there's only 8 of them in North America, and she graduated from one of them. So I wanted to share that because a lot of people are not familiar with naturopathic medical schools. So we're lucky to have one of the graduates here. Hello, Dr. Devin Miles.
Hello, Jackie. Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward to speaking with you today.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much. And before I forget, just about me, I do have a master class, and that's my gift for all of you today. You can go on to the master class over here. I think Rita's going to find it in a little bit. There it is, yourhealingmethod.com. It's a free master class for neck and back pain, but really it's for any pain that you're having throughout your body. So go ahead and check that out. And we're just going to jump in because I know a lot of people want to maybe ask questions, but we're going to start off with the first question because some people had asked me to please mention this and ask this while we're live. And the first question is, I know detoxing is important, but it's really hard for me to get off of the foods that I'm addicted to, like potato chips and drinks from Starbucks. How do I let go of those? And I'm going to let Dr. Lyanna answer that first, and then we'll go around the table. So, Dr. Lyanna, what do you say to this beautiful woman that's addicted to potato chips and Starbucks drinks?
Yeah, I'm just, yeah. Well, actually, I'm going to ask the other panelists if you could just put yourself on mute if you're not speaking, just so we make sure we don't have any feedback.
Okay,
Awesome.
that's good. Good
Thank you so
idea.
much. Yeah. So, this is, first of all, you're not alone. um, One of the issues is, a lot of us tend to blame ourselves and we think it's our fault that we have no willpower, to get off of these foods. However, part of the issue is that we're set up to fail a lot of the time. And there's a lot of things that you can do to take your power back and make substitutions and start making headway. But I just want to point out that depending on where you live, there's a lot of economic inequality, economic, inequity of food. And actually, people in marginalized communities are being marketed to in an unfair manner, meaning that they actually are marketed more to for processed foods and fast food and quick fixes. So that's one thing. The other thing is it's in front of you all the time. There's a Starbucks like on every corner in most places. And so they don't make it easy, right? They don't make it easy. The temptation is there. And, we're so used to this fast lifestyle of, eat quick, eat in the car, drive through, eat while we're standing. And, we just don't sit down and make food and eating a ritual anymore. I mean, it's really a sacred thing. That actually puts us in a sympathetic state. So you're in a fight or flight state when you're eating fast and you're eating these foods, and they're quick and they give you a boost of energy. So they actually help give us a dopamine hit in our brain, and we can become addicted to it. So sugar is actually 8 times more addictive than cocaine. And so if you're addicted to sugar, it's not completely your fault. I just want you to know that. And there's a lot of things you can do to start. So I wouldn't go cold turkey, number one. That's not the way to do it. Most people that go cold turkey just end up failing. But what I offer up to people that I work with is start making substitutions. So can we maybe substitute sugars for an alternative sweetener like stevia or monk fruit, not for sugar alcohols, right? So learning more about sweeteners is one thing that you can do. So you could start making those substitutes. So that's a whole nother talk, actually. And then some other things you can do are like substituting instead of, bread is very addictive. So maybe substituting gluten-free items for items that have gluten. And you can also start by maybe if you have coffee and you need to have sugar or creamer, start using some substitutes in your coffee. Maybe try weaning it down to maybe having black coffee. So my suggestion really is just taking small baby steps to start weaning yourself off of them, not go cold turkey. And also what you could do is there's some hacks like eating a lot of fiber or vegetables or salad before you eat those carbs or that sugar before your meal will actually help lessen the glycemic impact on your body. So you won't feel such a big dopamine hit or a big sugar crash afterwards. And also, you can have water in between meals. So maybe drinking enough water is what needs to happen so that you can feel less hungry at meal times. So a lot of people actually start their meal off by drinking some water. I know Betty Sue, to me, recommended to drink most of my water in between meals, and that's actually helped me greatly reduce my hunger. So that's what I have to offer. I'd love to hear what all the other ladies have to say.
I love it, love it, love it. And I didn't think about, we're set up to fail. It's so true. It's like we have to drive around with visors so that we don't look at the Starbucks or all the fast food things. So thank you. And yes, I love that water as well, between meals and not during or after. So thank you so much. So since you mentioned Betty Sue, please go ahead.
Let's see. Oh, I had to unmute myself.
Okay.
Well, I agree with everything that Dr. Lyanna said, of course. She's been one of my greatest teachers as well. But a couple of things I thought about was what she said was making those little minor changes. And one of the books I'm working on right now is recipes of all the things we love, but they're done healthy instead of unhealthy. And I think a big misconception people have is that they don't know what sugar is. And I like what you said about the stevia, that, you know, anything that turns to sugar, and that could be bread, rice, it could be all kinds of course, chips and all those things. So learning to substitute is a great tip. Another thing that came to my mind was what I do, I have little tricks for myself. I love to eat. I like to eat a lot. So I like to pile up my plate with lots of vegetables, maybe some quinoa or brown rice or something like that. And I'll eat twice what my husband eats. I mean, I just like love to eat a lot of food. But when you get through with it, you've eaten 300 calories instead of 3,000 calories. And so learning about some of the healthy choices and substitutions is helpful. And the last comment that I like to make is that or two little comments. When I think I want to go to Starbucks because I like cappuccinos, so then I switch to Americanos with a little bit of half and half. Then I switch to Americanos with a little oat milk on top. Now, a lot of times when I want to go to Starbucks, I have little squares of 90% dark chocolate. And if I eat one of those squares of dark chocolate, the coffee won't taste good. And I'll go, oh, I don't really want any coffee anymore. So I trick myself by doing little things like that. And then the second thing, when I said only one, is the motto of naturopathy is basically never stop a flow. And I had to trick my mind to say, well, you know, things that are in shiny packages and things that are in plastic and things that are at fast food restaurants are going to create blockages in the body because the body doesn't know where to put all those hydrogenated fats and all those plastics that are in packaged foods. And so they get blockages. And real food like fruits and vegetables and lean meats do not do that. So I don't want to stop the flow. When things are moving, when you're having good bowel movements, good elimination, good urine flow, good sweating, then, you know, then you're going to have a flow and everything's going to be lots better. So anyway, that's just my opinion on that question. Thanks for asking.
I love it. I love your beautiful tricks, Betty Sue. Thank you so much. So we're going to go to Tina next and then Dr. Devin Miles. And someone just popped up and said, what about wine and bourbon? How can I get off of wine and bourbon? And that's actually a friend of mine from New Orleans. So, you know, whenever you have that bourbon there, it's like, ooh, you know, she's a New Orleans girl. So what do you think, Coach Tina and then Dr. Miles? You can go ahead and take your mic.
Sorry about that. So eliminating sugars and salty might indicate a couple of different things. When you're actually craving salt, like potato chips and salty foods, actually you may be deficient in magnesium and minerals. So technically, if you were to get kind of a mineral panel, you may be deficient in magnesium and other minerals, essential minerals. And that brings on the salty cravings. When you have sugar cravings, it could be translation of a multitude of things. It could be emotional, it could be chemical, neurological in terms of that dopamine hit. And like Dr. Lyanna said, we are set up for failure in the sense that I worked in one of the major food companies in global Fortune 500 global food companies, mega brands out there. And what I did in my corporate job in my early days was work with food scientists. And I was working in the labs to develop food products that kept people hooked. There is so many processed chemicals and flavorings that keep us hooked, whether it be Doritos, M&Ms, or sugar candies, whatever it might be. And you know, all of those things are chemical toxins, just like bourbon and alcohol as well. That's really the killer of the dream, truly. And I know in midlife, because I work with midlife professionals, that is typically when they're very stressed, it's kind of a use um, of relieving stress, having one cocktail or a wine on a consistent basis, and it definitely accumulates. But our body reads that as toxins, just like our body reads artificial flavorings and the chemicals, not just sugar, but the chemicals that actually trigger our dopamine and our adrenaline hormones. So I agree with everything what Dr. Lyanna said and Betty Sue said. And one of the couple things you could do is, one, when you go grocery shopping, this is very simple. Try to stay in the perimeter of the grocery store. Shop in the perimeter of the grocery store. And if you ever notice, every grocery store is laid out this way. All the fresh, real, whole foods are on the perimeter of the grocery store. Okay. And so if you can focus there and not shop in the center aisles where you're going to find wrappers, package, boxes, cans, and tins and whatever processed foods that are made for convenience and made for addiction, that's all in the middle of the grocery store. So that's one thing. And then I agree with Dr. Lyanna is when you start incorporating, and I studied a lot about hyperpalatability over time, like basically working in a food company. Why are people addicted to sugar? It has such a high tolerance for sugar, just like, the more you have sugar, the more addicted you become, right? And so your load of sugar and toxins that you may be putting on yourself into your body on a daily basis actually increases your tolerance more and more and more and more until you actually back off and actually can clear and eliminate some of those toxins. So what I was saying is actually incorporating more bitter greens, more bitter foods. And if you look at ancient times and ancestral times of eating, we didn't have these sweetened foods. The foods that were sweet were naturally picked from trees, like berries and fruit. Those were natural sweeteners and natural sweets that came from the earth, right? So, and even sweet peppers, even tomato is a fruit, and those are considered vegetables now. They're actually not considered fruits because our palatability is so high in tolerance because of the volume, the repeat volume of, preservatives, chemicals, and all of the foods that keep us hooked. So I hope that answers some part of that question.
That was fabulous. Oh my gosh, I love it that you bring it back. I always say, cave woman time, and
Yes.
ancient times. That's so important. So, Dr. Devin Miles, please tell us, how do we get off, or how do we detox off of the foods that we're addicted to, like chips or the amazing Starbucks?
There's a number of ways. So I think the first thing you have to think about is, why do you want it? I mean, some people, they don't know that, but some people, they might say, oh, I just like going to Starbucks. I just like going be around people. And if that's really the only reason, then what else can you do instead? I mean, if you still really like to go to Starbucks, then maybe just get you some tea instead. Like sometimes people get into these routines because Starbucks is known for coffee, but Starbucks also has tea. Um, so you could try one of the teas instead. They have decaffeinated and caffeinated teas. So just pick whatever I guess works for you. So that could be one way to start changing things up, and just always realizing when something's a habit. Um, and as far as chips, is it the crunch that you like? If it's the crunch, well, maybe something like a red bell pepper or a cucumber or an apple could be good instead of chips for a crunch. Um, Also, keep in mind that both coffee and chips are dehydrating foods, in the sense that coffee is naturally a diuretic, so it's going to make you urinate more, which means you're losing water. Anything dried like chips, you got to put water with it to help your body to digest it. And this is something that I was planning to talk to my social media community about in terms of with kidney function and global warming and all of that. There's going to be more issues with heat strokes and dehydration and things like that. And so, for your own safety, one of the things that you do want to consider in the future is having more of a hydrating diet. So, even if you do have coffee, get some water right after that. That may be something you're not used to doing even right now. A lot of people are walking around probably not as hydrated as they could be. And so I would encourage you to make sure that you are, at the very least, definitely hydrating yourself again. Um, and, when it comes to food addictions, people are on a spectrum, right? But let me speak to the ones that are really on the far end. You're eating huge bags of chips multiple times a week. This is kind of a far shot, but I don't think too many people know about it, which is Overeaters Anonymous. So we talked about the bourbon. Yes, everybody knows about Alcoholics Anonymous. There's also Overeaters Anonymous. And so if you need to go that far, go that far. And you can do other tricks like, okay, well, I'm only going to have chips Monday, Tuesday, and then the rest of the week I'm not going to touch them. So you can try to carve out some patterns like that. I would say the first 3 days of anything is going to be difficult. For some people, it'll get easier after that. So there's a lot of things you can do, but I'll stop there.
That's beautiful. I love that. And it's so funny because Betty Sue had me get off of sugar for 6 weeks because I had a body rash. And that was the torture of 6 weeks. It was like 6 weeks from hell. It was so hard. But since then, I do what you say, Dr. Miles. I only have sweets one day a week. Usually it's Sunday. That's when I have my sweets. And because when I did that 6 week removal of sugar and high, really bad foods, I just felt so much better. I slept better. I was emotional. Well, not the first 3 or 5 days. I was emotionally a wreck. I was
Yeah.
probably, but so I thank you for bringing that up. While I have you there, I want to ask you the next question, if I may. And everybody can answer this question if you like. But the next question was, I have such a hard time preparing healthy meals. What's the one or two cookbooks that you would recommend? So I know, Dr. Miles, that you had mentioned that you have a book, or a book or two. So can you show that one to us if you have it?
Yeah, sure. I have two, and you can get whatever books you like that suit your interests, but these are just two, especially because I work with clients with kidney function decline. This is actually a really good one.
Nice.
Renal diet plan and cookbook. Um, Definitely very plant based, but yeah, I think it has some meat in it as well. But yeah, when you have declining kidney function, you have, depending on how bad it is, you have to decrease your animal protein. So that one's nice. And then this one, which is the plant based cookbook, vegan, gluten free, oil free recipes for lifelong health.
Mm.
It's not every day you see all of this description all at the same time on the front of a book. So I thought that was really nice.
I love them. I'm not familiar with them, so thank you so much for showing them. Anybody else have any books that you want to share, or just mention the name? Yes, Coach Tina, go right ahead.
So I don't know if you've ever heard of Sally Fallon Morell. She has a series of books called started with Nourishing Traditions, and she really writes about foods that are slow foods. Okay. And so what's going on today in America and across the country and around the world is we are eating for convenience. And what I really truly believe is that we need to get back to slow foods to really truly heal our bodies and get back to our natural immune system ability to rebuild tissue and to eliminate toxins and so forth. So Sally Fallon Morell has a number of books. This one is called Nourishing Broth. So if you think about chicken broths that your grandmother made or your mom made, I really truly believe bone broth from chicken or turkey or poultry or even fish broth can actually be incredibly healing to your gut, incredibly healing to your joints, and in terms of all the essential amino acids that we need, as well as glucosamine and all the minerals that we are mostly missing in our diet. Dr. Hyman said, we are a nation of being overfed and undernourished. And all of my programs and what I speak about specifically is truly getting back to old ways and traditional ways of eating, so that we are eating directly from the source, and less, even if it's gluten free. I mean, it's still got stuff in it. So if you can eat as close to the source as possible, you're going to be able to transition your sugary palate and the food addictions that you have naturally, just from a chemical standpoint. The other book I just wanted to mention quickly is Leanne Vogel, who I love, is, she's a certified nutritionist, and she wrote a book called Keto Diet, which is awesome. And so those people who are trying to lose weight in midlife, to do a healthy keto diet, these have amazingly delicious recipes. So I'm a strong proponent. It has to be delicious in order for you to stick with it. So I love some of the recipes in this book, but I love Sally Fallon Morell's books, Nourishing Tradition. And so I encourage you to look it up and try to incorporate slow foods into your diet.
Yes, slow foods is so awesome. I went to Colombia in 1992. I took my husband, and we went to 3 hours from the capital into the mountains to visit some of my family members. And they threw the head and bones of a fish into a pot and just started cooking vegetables. And my husband was like, "Oh, we're gonna eat the soup of a head of a fish." And I was like, yeah, that's where the wonderful health comes from the bones. And he was like, wow. But it was interesting because we were there and they were doing it as a celebration. So it was a special thing that they were taking the bones, the head of the fish and all that stuff. And we ate the meat of the fish as well. But it's important that we need to get the fish, like you were saying, come back to the earth, in other words. And I really don't know any of these cookbooks. So thank you so much for bringing it up. Betty Sue, did you have a book or two that you wanted to share? Because I know you have your own book, 6 Weeks to a Healthy Lifestyle, and Going Green, the smoothie way. But did you want to bring one up?
Well, no, I will show this book, but that was what I was going to mention just a minute ago. This is the 6 weeks. And actually, the sixth chapter is cleansing and deep tissue detoxing. And, so that's really a whole other subject you can get into. But what I was laughing about, Jackie, was when you said that about your rash and you came to me and I told you, okay, this is what we're going to do for 6 weeks. We got to get rid of this body rash. Jackie goes to New Orleans on a Sunday and goes to a tea party. And she comes over here the next day and she's covered with the rash. Jackie, you became a believer, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, I was dying. I was like, I'll never do that again. But it's just that the body had enough. And also the stress that I was under at that time. I had just published my first book and I was just so stressed out. And that's another thing, we're one of the topics today is letting go of negativity, which we're going to, someone had asked me about that as well. But before we go there, I did want to share my book, which is not my book, but this is Alicia Silverstone, and it's The Kind Diet. And I bought this many, many years ago when my kids were little. And it really talks about many, many things in the beginning. But I really love her recipes. And one of them is like Sicilian collard greens. Look how delicious that looks. So she's got like a beautiful array. And here's candied ginger pears, So it's just a beautiful book. And here's one more, baby bok choy.
drizzled with umi vinaigrette. So it's just got really cool things. I have to have cookbooks that have pictures in them as well so I can get inspired. And Betty Sue and I and some other friends, we went to the mountains of Tennessee to the Isha Institute, which I highly recommend. It's a yoga retreat for 4 days. And this was their beautiful, wonderful cookbook, a taste of Isha. And you can order this, all of these books online for everybody. So anybody else? Did I miss anybody? Dr. Lyanna, did you have a book that you wanted to share by any chance? Dr. Lyanna?
I think she froze.
So Jackie, one of the things I wanted to say real quick. Oh, there she is. She's back. Never mind. I was just filling in.
Dr. Lyanna, did you want to share the name of a cookbook, or you don't have to if you don't want to? I was just asking.
Oh yeah. Well, I do not. I don't have any on me right now. That's probably why. But I don't really use cookbooks, so that's just my thing. Like, I'm not someone who follows recipes. I cook really simply, and I learned to cook from my grandmother's. So I add a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it works out. But my meals are really simple and deconstructed, and that's one of the ways that I actually make sure that I keep eating healthy. When I get too complicated and I start adding a lot of ingredients, I lose focus, and it's not sustainable for me. So that's just me personally. What I do for patients is I actually give them recipes. So when I'm working with someone to personalize care or personalize their nutrition, I actually give them recipes and actually give them guidelines. So I give them, that's the most important thing, is having a set of guidelines that you can follow, and then you make that work in the confines of what you like to eat. So that's how I found, making dietary changes more sustainable is, not having to follow someone else's template or structure. So that's just my take on it. I have nothing against cookbooks. I'm going to look at all the cookbooks that you ladies presented today. I'm sure they're wonderful. But yeah, that's just my take on it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So while I have you there, though, the next question for everybody, and I would love Dr. Lyanna to answer that one first. It's what are environmental toxins, was what someone had asked me. They're like, how do I get rid of them if I don't even know what they are? So Dr. Lyanna, I'm going to ask you to go first. What are environmental toxins, and how do I get rid of them?
I think it's a good question for Betty Sue, actually. She's kind of a master at, I think Betty Sue has a whole book on this, right?
Yes, she does.
Betty Sue has a whole book on it. Well, I think, yeah. So, I'll just quickly kind of cover that, but their environmental toxins are just substances from our environment that actually get into our body that are not supposed to be there. And normally our detox systems and our liver, our gallbladder, our skin, our urine, our kidneys, like, we're supposed to be able to handle toxins when they come into the body so we can flush them out. But a lot of the times we stop that process from happening. And sometimes we get overloaded with those toxins. We almost overload our system. So I'm talking about things like chemicals, mold, heavy metals, things like that. But I'm going to go ahead and let Betty Sue take that.
All right. Awesome. Very good. Okay. Betty Sue, tell us, what are environmental toxins?
Well, in brief, they're everywhere and they're everything. I mean, my neighbors across the street are using weed and feed. Some people down the street use, poisons to kill ants and, termites and everything else. So those are environmental toxins. The wind blowing across the Gulf, the mercury in your teeth, the plastic in your water bottle. I mean, our environment sucks. I mean, seriously, as beautiful as it is struggling. Mother Earth is struggling, just like we are all struggling to deal with the toxic overload. So a couple of things I would say. One is daily detoxing. And I want to just, I went out in my yard and gathered a couple of things I thought I'd show y'all. I grow parsley every year in the late winter, early spring. And, when when someone was talking about source a little while ago, I think it was Tina. I have a backyard garden. I'm all about it. I always have had one. I don't want to buy my greens from the grocery store that came from Argentina. And parsley is easy to grow. So I have cilantro too, but I just picked parsley. Both of those are natural chelators. Parsley in particular, whenever I'm going to have someone go on an elimination diet, eat parsley, drink parsley tea. It tones the kidneys because it's a very astringent herb and it's readily available. You can buy it in the grocery store. Another one I want to show y'all, these are all detoxing where you can do it every day. You can have it every day because it's a food. This is in your yard right now. It's called cleavers. And cleavers is called cleavers because it cleaves, it sticks to you. See, I mean, it's like sticking to my head. And it's what it does, though, is it cleans the lymphatic system. It dissolves hard and soft lymphatic swellings in the body. And it cleaves to the lymph and it cleans it out, cleans out the lymph nodes. And you can drink it as a tea every spring because it's out in your yard. This is an amazing herb that everyone can grow. It's Artemisia or wormwood. This is associated with the ivermectin that is used to worm horses and some people apparently today, or has always been to worm people. But wormwood is a bitter herb. So bitters are good. You know, our taste buds have gotten to where we're just sweet and sour and hot, but bitter is a taste and it's good for digestion, but it's also great for detoxing. Just a little bit of wormwood will detox the bowel and also it will kill parasites. I would tell y'all about my tapeworm that I got with wormwood, but I won't gross you out. And then this is a bottle of cilantro that I just grew the cilantro and then I tinctured it in alcohol. And if someone is having their mercury fillings removed, for example, whether they did it properly or improperly, using cilantro in a smoothie or like this is good. But you know, we can't avoid the toxins. That's why today more than ever, it's very important to eat a pure diet. Don't hang out with your cell phone and electronics all day. Hug some trees, breathe some fresh air. Don't get stuck inside with your stale air. And give your little kidneys and your bowels a little cleansing push several times, especially spring and fall. Huh.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I especially love that you're reminding us to get out, right? Because fresh air is so incredibly important, especially around trees. So breathing that fresh air, being around trees is very, very important for the lungs and for the heart. Another thing I learned recently, and I think it was from you, Betty Sue, is that taking hot baths with Epsom salt. So I think Epsom salt, if I remember correctly, that also removes toxins from the body, Betty Sue. Oops, you're muted.
It does. It is a
Mhm.
sulfur. And there is magnesium chloride that you can use for people that have sensitivities to sulfur. Or you can use Himalayan salt. You can just go buy sea salt. All of those things. It's the magnesium in there in the Epsom salts that is actually the muscle relaxant. And so there is magnesium in other things as well, even teas. You know,
Yes.
all greens have magnesium in them, so you can make a strong tea even with lavender and pour it in your bath.
Mhm.
I have
And
hey, Jackie, can
yes.
I ask Betty Sue a question? What was the plant, the one that sticks to you? Which one was that? What was that
That,
one called again?
that's cleavers.
Cleavers. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And where is that? Is that a regional thing? Where would you get seeds for that to grow?
You can order seeds for cleavers. It comes up naturally all over the Southeast.
Mm,
Um, and you can buy cleavers from an herb shop, you know,
okay.
like Southwest Herbs or
Is there
anywhere.
another word for that herb?
There is, and I can't think of it right now.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. And my
Maybe
other
that has a botanical name, but
My other question was, when you do the cilantro tincture, and I recommend this with all my clients as well as they're going through elimination program, incorporating more bitter greens like parsley and cilantro. When you do the cilantro tincture, when you say it's in alcohol, like how are you creating that cilantro tincture that's ingestible?
well, you know what herbalists use there? The number one solvent is
Hmm.
vodka
Hmm.
or brandy. The number two solvent is vinegar. The number 3 is glycerin, which is really good for children. And the last is water. Well, in that hierarchy of solvents, they are less and less stable. So the alcohol will last 7 or 8 years, once you've drained it. And you can, people that don't do alcohol, you just put a few drops in water and let it dissipate. Just as an example, I had a woman with 2 autistic boys. We did cilantro, alkaline diet, no fast food, lots of water, and neither of them is autistic today. And
Wow.
she was religious with a teaspoon of
Ooh. Repeat that one more time, Betty Sue.
Well, this
Exactly what you
lady,
said.
she lives here in Ocean Springs. She was religious with a teaspoon of cayenne tincture and water. Cilantro tincture and water. Um, Lots of good ionic charged water, that was purified, and a pure diet. She quit her job to do this. And I was teaching at that boys' school, a health class, just I go up there on professional days or whatever. And there's a boy in the 4th grade, and I'm looking at this boy, and I was like, "What is your name?" And he told me. I was like, "Holy cow. He's engaged. He's asking questions." And what Minister Fuller said, "Show me a genius and I'll show you a great mother." She was a
Yeah.
great mother. She took
Wow.
the time to do everything she needed to do. And, elimination diets, everything. So,
And all of us know that children are suffering so much from so many things, but it's the whole gut and brain connection. Why are children having more neurological diseases and things? It's because of the foods. We're not eating in the ways that our parents did, grandparents did, great grandparents. We're not following the ancient ways because we've forgotten about them. And so I'm so grateful that you're bringing that up. And also boosting the lymphatic system, right? The lymphatic system for me is just the vacuum cleaner of the body. And when it's sluggish, especially with children, getting them to move. A lot of kids are just stuck in front of the video camera and they're playing games or they're watching TV or they're, on their phone. This is, not that we're not on their phone, but they're doing it all the time. And so they're not moving their bodies. So that's one of the ways that I am help the clients that I have that are very young is to constantly get them out of the house and get them moving, jumping up and down on a little trampoline, but just boosting that lymphatic system, the rebounding, just kind of getting that boost. And so that helps out a lot. So anybody else want to talk about the environmental toxins?
I want to say one thing. I was just having a conversation about detoxing with another group. But one of the wonderful things you could do is really kind of stimulate your lymphatic system and your organs through saunas. Okay, it's a very European, actually European, Asian, and global tradition, and it's not widely used in the U.S. It's not very American, but it's becoming more predominantly popular in spas and saunas and stuff like that. But if you have an opportunity to actually go to a sauna that's like an infrared sauna, it's not going to heat you up from the outside, but it actually heats you up from the inside, and it stimulates your organs to actually eliminate through perspiration. And it as long as you're healthy and you're not struggling with high blood pressure, and you have to be careful of all of that, because it will raise your circulation. It's moving your blood, it's moving your lymphatic system. So I don't know if that's and to actually experience cold water therapy, taking cold showers, as well as taking hot baths with Epsom salt, can actually, the alternation of cold and hot, beyond just like the normal average lukewarm temperatures, really actually stimulates our organs and stimulates our lymphatic system for detoxing. So I just wanted to add to that.
Love it. Love it. Before we go to the last question, anybody else want to talk about how to get rid of the toxins or environmental toxins? Dr. Miles, go right ahead.
Yeah, definitely don't forget about what you're putting on your hair and your skin. So that's shampoos, conditioners, leave-in conditioners, gels, all of that, perfume, cologne. these are man-made substances, and you don't exactly know everything that's in them. Makeup is another one. I mean, I am one who will watch some of these people on social media like make their face up, and it's like, oh, it's nice, but I'm not doing it, you know. So that's just not something that I want to be putting on my face all the time. Your skin is a barrier, but your skin also absorbs things. So um, I think we have to also remember that as women, and have boundaries with our relationship with makeup, but also not that makeup's necessarily a bad thing, but definitely trying to choose higher quality products. So at one point, I was a rep for a European makeup company, and that's when I learned that there were thousands more chemicals going into US makeup than European makeup. And it's just like, man, if thousands more of just chemicals in makeup, I can't even imagine what's going on with the food. So just think about from head to toe, what are you exposing yourself to, and how can you make more natural choices in that?
Yes, that's a beautiful reminder what we're putting on in our face. And some women put makeup on every single day. I don't put it on every single day. And if I do, it's usually towards the evening if I'm gonna have to go to an event or speak or I'm going to dinner. So yeah, I try not to put on makeup. But yes, I remember the very first person who brought that awareness to me was Dr. Lyanna many, many years ago. She was buying these certain products. I was like, well, oh, why are you buying those? She said, because they don't have chemicals in them. And I was like, wow, I never even thought of that. But yeah, when you go to Europe and you eat the food and you buy the makeup, you'll read the ingredients and they're not the same as ours because they don't allow that in other countries, and we do here, sadly. So yeah, we just have to really take care of ourselves and pay very close attention to the ingredients. So yes. So our last question, beautiful panelists, is what does being negative have to do with my health? And this is a young person that asked me that. And I thought it was a great question because we are spring detoxing, and negativity and the topic was brought up by our beautiful Betty Sue O'Brien, and I loved it. So I just wanted to kind of ask you guys, what are your thoughts on that? You know, what does negativity have to do with myself, with my health? So anybody want to take a stab at that first? All right. Okay. So I'm going to okay, Tina, go ahead, Coach Tina.
So basically, our thoughts control our behaviors and also our actions. And you know, I am a strong believer in having the ability to be able to turn your mindset and your thinking around. Oh yeah, Betty Sue texted message. Thoughts are things. They are things. They become real. They become reality. So our thoughts in terms of our inner dialogue, whether it be criticism or judgment or shame or feeling bad, actually projects in terms of our behaviors and the choices that we make. And I'm specifically doing a training program over the summer for 6 months, and have been for the last 6 weeks, with a group of women golfers around the inner game. And I make these parallels about how when women could get up to the tee and they're about to strike a tee shot. I know there may not be a lot of golfers on here, but basically what comes up is a lot of fear, a lot of self-criticism, and that's on a daily basis. And that shows up in the choices that we make. We're not trusting ourselves, and we're not, and that shows up in confidence in our decisions, and confidence in ourselves, and self-care and self-love. So I just wanted to add to that. I hope that helps.
Absolutely. And I want to chime in with lower vibrational frequencies. Hi, Jackie Ramos. So, yeah, lower vibrational frequencies are a big thing. I first read it in Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawking. And when we're thinking negatively, right, when we're focused on anger or hatred, it's okay to feel all those things. They're important. You know, they're part of our emotions, especially us women. If we're still experiencing premenstrual time that I don't say premenstrual syndrome anymore, because I remember reading Dr. Christian Northrup's book, and she says it's not premenstrual syndrome. It's not a syndrome. It's just something that we experience. But for those first 2 weeks, we are feeling what we're supposed to be feeling, and it's important. So feeling the lower vibrational frequencies of anxiety, fear, depression, sadness, grief, guilt, shame is extremely important, right? And so we call those the lower vibrational frequencies, but he also calls them negative emotions or negative frequencies. We have to feel them, but when we linger on too long, it affects our body's 50 trillion cells. And so our 50 trillion cells, I see them as beautiful little puppies. They're like, what are you going to tell me to do? What are you going to tell me to do? And if you tell your body that it's a negative, you're having a horrible day, you have a bad relationship with someone, or you feel bad because you ate that food or that drink, and you keep putting yourself down, or you're constantly literally telling yourself that it's another person's fault, right? Instead of taking ownership of what's happening in your own life, all those things keep the body in lower vibrational frequencies. And it's hard to get out of it. But what I love to do is the yoga, is the walking, is the laughing, and being with beautiful people, especially women, because women, we're supposed to be together. So find 1 or 2 women that are positive, that are loving, that are joyful. And that's my simple way of getting out of that negativity, and not staying there for too long. But just call someone, pick up the phone and just say, hey, I'm having a tough time right now. Can you tell me a joke? That's why I think Instagram is so popular, because Instagram focuses on, puppies or kitty cats or just something funny. And we need that in our lives right now. We all do. So, yes. So anybody else want to make a comment or a response on that? Okay, Dr. Miles?
So I think it's always important to bring up for those who have things like anxiety or depression, or especially something like OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. You're having intrusive thoughts. Thoughts do not always become reality. Sometimes they can drive your behavior, but if I can think the sky, the ceiling's going to fall all day long, and the ceiling might not fall, so just always have perspective. And I just think it's always important to say that, because there are people who are in a different class with their thoughts. And I just want to kind of quench some of their anxiety. Sometimes I understand that they can get triggered by topics like this. But yeah, I mean, how you're feeling about yourself can drive your behaviors. So if you're not feeling that great about yourself, then it might be easier to go get those chips in that coffee, because it's going to give you a boost. Versus if you learn to talk to yourself better, then you won't necessarily come down on yourself as hard. Sometimes people have a greater range of feelings, of emotions. Some people are like right here, and then other people are like out here, and they're just out all over, and that is harder to control. And it's not always a bad thing. I think we need those people for different reasons, but you also have to know that's how you are, and start to learn different coping mechanisms on how to deal with that. And so I thought one that Jackie said was really nice about making yourself laugh. If you're going, you've been like ruminating for like an hour or something, or you just keep going down, 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 like try to put a cap on that. If sometimes it can be good to go down, because you're going to reflect, and you're going to feel it bad. But at the same time, you don't want to cap that with chips. Cap it with a joke, or feel it. But again, even that process, I encourage you to work with someone so that you understand how to handle that, how to process that if you decide to go deep with a feeling. It can be nice to know why you do think negatively, right? And that's not always easy, but like if you had a mother who just, was mean to you all the time, well, then there's a lot to rewrite in your brain. And so seeing a therapist can be quite helpful for you to start to understand why you think the way you do, um, and start to put in the efforts daily to rewrite that. It can take time. So just keep that in mind, that it is a daily, it can be a daily long term effort, and that is okay. And just, just keep going. And you are so not alone in that. So just keep going.
Yes, that's the most important thing, is you're not alone. And that's why I chose each of you specifically last year, because I wanted to share your wisdom with everyone, right? That's why each of you changes the lives of every single client that you work with. And that's why this Women's Health Forum goes on every single year, because it's benefiting so many women. But even if it just benefits one person when we do this Women's Health Forum, then we've done our work, and that's why it's beautiful for me, is to be of service and lead with love. And yes, talk therapy is so incredibly important. Yoga is medicine. Myofascial release. Writing in a journal. I just happen to have a really cool journal here. I just finished The Power of Self-Care, Self-Love. So it's a really great journal that just came out a couple of weeks ago. It's actually great for every single day, like Dr. Miles had mentioned. And then, I love, Dr. Miles, that you mentioned accepting yourself. There is, for me specifically, working with my clients and patients, to learn how to care and love ourselves is something that we need to rewrite. Like you were saying, Dr. Miles, we need to do this for ourselves. We cannot keep giving continuously until we learn to give to ourselves first, and then learn to love ourselves. If we loved ourselves as much as we love our cats and our dogs, we would be in such a great place. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to my books as well. So yay, I'm so excited. We're coming to the end, but I do want to, if you can, Rita's going to put up one more time. Go ahead, Rita. I put up my link. This is called the Back and Neck Pain Relief Masterclass. And so it's a really great masterclass, and it's free. And there's the link, yourhealingmethod.com. If you have neck and back pain, or really any pain at all, it's something that you're really going to learn tremendously from. I do go into the gut and brain connection there, and teach you how to do a clockwise abdominal massage, which actually does decrease anxiety and depression because it gets you to poop. So that's me. And now we're gonna, if you can, we're gonna bring up Dr. Lyanna's link. So Dr. Lyanna is not only working with clients, but she's crossing over and helping healthcare practitioners in their with the business mentoring and pretty much everything. When you work with Dr. Lyanna, you're really working with everything. So book with Lyanna.com. And then we're going to go to Betty Sue. Betty Sue has her books out. You can get them online, but also she has she teaches with the Southern Institute of Natural Health. And so if you want to learn how to be a naturopath, or if you want to learn how to be an iridologist, someone who looks in the eyes, the iris and the sclera, and they can tell you, what's going on in your body, please connect with Betty Sue O'Brien. She's amazing at bettysueobrien.com. And then we're going to go to Tina Hong. So Tina Hong has also a 60-minute Zoom call. She's giving that to you for free today. And that's at bit.ly Unstoppable Health Breakthrough. So you can get on her calendar. And please do it soon, because she's opened up a couple of days soon just for you guys to chime in with her. And Dr. Lyanna has done that as well. And then we have Dr. Devin Miles. And Dr. Devin Miles has an incredible ebook. And I love this ebook. And she also has a newsletter. Dr. Lyanna has a newsletter. Betty Sue has a newsletter. Tina Hong has a newsletter. So once you start to subscribe, and I have one as well, I'll put up the link in a minute. But Dr.
Devin Miles is one of the few healthcare practitioners that focuses on the kidney function, and it's a very important organ that many people forget. So go ahead and get that from. Thank you so much, Dr. Miles. And then my link is Jackie's Community. So you can subscribe to my newsletter as well. And we're all on social media. So we're all on Facebook. We're all on Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel with lots of self-treatment videos on there. So please reach out to us, everybody. Any last words? We're going to start with Dr. Lyanna and then Betty Sue. Any last words you want to get us? And then Coach Tina and Dr. Miles, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jackie, for offering this. And absolutely, if anyone's interested in connecting with me, bookwithlyanna.com. We can get on a free 20-minute call. You and I, if you're looking for functional medicine, we can talk about how to work together. I also I just opened an integrative medical clinic as well called Peak Integrative Medicine. And if you're a healthcare practitioner looking for more freedom in your life and in your practice, you can also go to bookwithlyanna.com and we can get on a call to see how we can free up time for you.
Yay, beautiful. Betty Sue, any last words?
Yes, all I would say is that, now having known these ladies and kind of followed them for a year, the wonderful world we live in is that you can contact any of them. You can have Tina if you live in Mississippi, or Lyanna if you live in Canada. And it's so wonderful that we can just be face to face with these fabulous women. So I don't know what I would do without y'all in my life. And that all of these women can be in your life as well. So thank you, everybody.
Yes, we are here for everyone. Woohoo! All right, Coach Tina, what are your last beautiful words?
I love that, Betty Sue. So grateful for everybody here on this panel. And for you, Jackie, my friend, behind the scenes, we're communicating frequently, and just so appreciate your friendship. I guess I want to reflect on that as well. I agree, Betty Sue, and Dr. Miles. We all need help. Nobody teaches us how to do these things that we think that seem very simple. And many times my clients come to me to say, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. And so we here on this panel are actually doing amazing things to help you and to guide you and be generous and to care and teach you how to do things a little differently, naturally, whereas Western medicine might not readily do. So your body is listening to your thoughts. That's my last word. Your body is listening to your thoughts. And if you're interested in a 60-minute breakthrough mindset session, please book at bit.ly/unstoppable health breakthrough. Thank you.
Woohoo! Thank you, Coach Tina. Dr. Devin Miles, what are your last words?
I just wanted to say thank you to, I think it was Cecilia who said, this is just what I needed at the end of a long day. I appreciate that feedback. It's always nice to hear when you make an impact on somebody. So thank you for that. And as far as getting in touch with me, it's drdevinmiles.com. You can book a free 15-minute inquiry call. I do see clients nationally and internationally. So definitely consider getting the free ebook, especially if you have any risk factors for kidney damage. So top 2 would be diabetes and hypertension, but also consider things like lupus. And as we talked about, chronic dehydration. If you're a farmer and you're not, hydrating enough, make sure you're hydrating. Different autoimmune illnesses sometimes, like lupus, IgA nephropathy. These can lead to kidney damage. Just keep that in mind. Well, I guess that's the music. I'll stop now.
Yay! All right. Love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Miles. Can everybody hear the music? Woo, this is cute Colombian music. So I don't know. Can you hear it? All right, here we go. Here we go. Moving. This is Cumbia is called. Cumbia, Colombian music. So we're just gonna dance it out and enjoy, everybody. This is Oye Mujer is what it's called. That's the name of the song by Remix. So put on some music, dance the night away. Even if you're by yourself, just keep dancing. Don't stop dancing, because there's so many things around the world that are occurring. But guess what? The most important thing is how you're feeling, how you're serving yourself first, how you're loving yourself, and then you can do this beautiful service and love for others. So I love you guys. Say bye-bye. Adios.
Bye.
Woo!